Good morning to one and all. We are here for the AICT IST sponsored refresher induction program on value based education system on current and future scenario. Day 6, session 2. The topic is going to be on pedagogy for languages in higher education. It's going to be delivered by Dr. Amuda Charushila, ma'am. She's an assistant professor from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. We welcome you, ma'am. Now, I request Dr. R. Murugan, Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Panama Ministry of Technology, to introduce the guest for us.
So, with this pleasure, I'll introduce today's guest, Dr. Amuda Charuchila, ma'am, to our participants. Dr. Amuda Charusila is presently working as assistant professor in the Department of Humanities and Science, Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, Sri Perambudur. She has 23 years of teaching experience at the college level and has been teaching English language and management papers for engineering students. She holds PhD from Madras University, Chennai. Her research focuses on the impact of communalism and religious fundamentalism in contemporary Indian English fiction. She has presented many papers at national and international conferences, and to her credit, more than 15 research papers published in reputed books and journals with good professional front. Her research interest lies in violence in literature, theatre studies, diaspora literature, and eco literature. She is a member of International Association for Commonwealth Literature and Language Studies and Indian Association for the Study of Australia. She has completed her MBA in Operation Research from IGNOU in April 2003, and she did a MPhil in English Literature from Manonmaniam Sundaranar University, Tirunelveli. He completed his ME. She completed his MA English Literature from Sarah Tucker College, Tirunelveli in the year 1992. She is approved course developer for IGNOU University. She is a master trainer for IELTS and PTE, that is Pearson Test of English. She is coordinator in the Women Entrepreneurship Cell of SVCE. So we welcome you, ma'am, for this session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for reading my short bio. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Uh, Good morning, one and all present here. I am really delighted to be a part of this program and share my observations on pedagogies for language learning in higher education. Short presentation. I'll go for that. Can you see my screen, sir? Sir, is it visible, sir, my screen?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible, ma'am.
Okay.
Can you put it on full screen, madam?
I mean slideshows, huh?
Yes, yes.
One.
You can share the entire screen, then it will be possible.
One more, sir, because I have sound problem here. That's why, right? Now is it okay, sir?
Ma'am, you stop presenting, then you share the PPT once again, ma'am,
Okay,
with
understand, sir.
entire screen mode, entire screen.
Okay, sir.
After clicking entire screen, just click the screen inside, ma'am. That inner
Yeah,
screen.
1 minute. Sir.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Yes, now it's visible, sir. Yes. Can you see that, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Now change it to presentation mode.
It's 1 minute. It's in presentation mode only, am I correct? No? Sir? Is it in
Yes, ma'am.
presentation mode?
Then you have
Yeah,
to
slideshow.
slideshow.
It's
Ah,
also
yes.
fine.
Right, ma'am.
Now,
Fine. Okay, ma'am.
1 minute. Yeah, okay. The title for today's topic is, sorry, presentation is Pedagogies for Language Learning in Higher Education. Right? And education, pedagogy, and change are watchwords of 21st century educators and researchers. And these three words, right, okay, education, pedagogy, and change, they are interrelated on theoretical and practical level. And the attention given to pedagogical changes in the education sphere is actually propelled by globalization and its knowledge economy forces. Okay, so as the need to change with these economy forces arises, so does the need for communication in global language. So obviously, the global language is English, and it dominates the world also. So, though everyone will not have a positive approach towards learning English because they might fear that it might okay, abandon their native tongue. So, they are scared of using English as a prominent language in their education system. But English knowledge not only, but English is a vital communication skill for knowledge economy. We cannot deny that fact now, and it not only improves one's educational status but also nation building activities, right? So it link language both in international and national level. So it has become the language of business, law, science, maths, and language of industry and trade, and it has become the window of the modern world. So it has got a lot of advantages, and it links language to leadership skills. And students today want to learn language not only to communicate but also as a means to find contacts, meet people, and establish partnerships. Right? So such activities, all these activities can only be facilitated by learning other languages, especially English. And leadership interpersonal skills are also necessary to make connections and other lasting partnerships. So nowadays, I can see a trend towards learning other languages as a means not only to become self-empowered, but also we need to empower others. So English is necessary in this context. And students, they are choosing to learn another language in order to go to a country where they can make a difference for however shorter time. So these are some of the advantages of learning English. So English will maintain and grow its dominance, moving from a marker of the elite in years past to be a basic skill needed for the entire workforce, in the same way that literacy has been transformed in the last few centuries from an elite privilege into a basic requirement for informed citizenship. So it is no more a privilege. Now it has become a mandatory. It has become a basic skill. So if you want to get a work, knowledge of English is very much necessary. And even after joining the work, you have to move upwards in your career line. Career on. So for that, English is very much required. You need to communicate. You need to negotiate. You have to present. Okay, so all these things are there. So English is very much necessary, and in India, of course, engineering students, not only engineering students, most of the students they face tough challenges before they are employed in organization. And every year, the industry is education industry is churning around lakhs and lakhs of students are being churned out from the education industry. And only they say the industry says only 18 to 20% of the students are employable. And in this pandemic situation, the job market and the companies they have hardened their recruitment process due to the overflow of graduates each year. Okay, so the demand is very less. Okay. So language proficiency here, it has been playing a major role, and it has become a mandatory skill required for finding a good placement. And every year, thousands of unemployable engineers, okay, they are getting degree but without any quality or skill. So some of the experts, they say, okay, because this system doesn't focus on quality and practical application, and this is appropriate to language learning also. So graduates are expected to possess verbal communication skills, presentation skills, written skills, along with comprehension skills. Okay? But nowadays, after post-pandemic, digital literacy is also expected. So they must be proficient in using all these technology, I mean tools also. So that is the need of the hour, and many engineering graduates are found to be lacking in English communication skills, though the syllabus, okay, there is a there is the syllabus includes English subject, but most of the students, they lack in English communication skills, and the problem of unemployment grows unabated. So it is necessary and mandatory to unravel the mystery behind this lack of communication skills and solve the issue of unemployment rate. So that is the need of the hour. And in India's today's job market, it is impossible to find a job suitable to the qualification of these graduates, as the supply surpasses demand. So therefore, engineering graduates who are good at English language find jobs, okay, that require English language skills, and hence English language plays a decisive role in being uh, eligible for a respectable job. So there are so many approaches, and these are some of the approaches. And still, the world is under the grip of COVID-19, right, pandemic. So many of us are currently obliged to teach fully online, and for a lot of language teachers, this is completely new and unfamiliar situation, and it has got a lot of potential pitfalls. And just 2 or 3 years ago, if you had asked many English teachers, they'd have said that it is not possible to teach English online. So only offline will help. Online will not be helpful. Even I was under the impression online classes will not be helpful to improve the English proficiency of the students. But now the pandemic situation has changed the entire education system and scenario. We can of course divide the Iran to, I think, like this: pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. Pre-pandemic, of course, the Indian education system for in English classrooms, okay, they follow uh, traditional methods, okay, traditional methods of language teaching, that is purely grammar based and teacher oriented. And the teachers are very comfortable following the traditional methods of teaching, in which grammar learning is the most important ingredient, and there is less space for activities that trigger spontaneous flow of communication. So the teacher will be the center of the class, and she or he will be teaching, and the students, they have to follow the instructions given by the teacher, and there is less room for interaction in the classrooms. It is like one way, right? But certain methodologies, okay, though many conferences are being conducted, ELT conferences are being conducted in India, it has not changed the entire scenario. And ELT, of course, they accentuate technology integrated language teaching, methods of language teaching, learning styles and strategies, and evaluation methods. But in spite of all such discussions and paper presentations, there is always a big gap between what is learned in conferences and what is practiced in classrooms. So actually, the excitement of conference participation vanishes just within a couple of weeks, and the teachers tend to return to their old habits of teaching. So everyone agrees that English language professors in engineering colleges play an important role in shaping the language proficiency of students, but the reality is something different. It is very bleak. And various reports and surveys highlight the importance of language skills and unemployability of Indian graduates over and over again. And though communication skills is the key word of English teaching, many English professors in India are unfamiliar with certain terms like Okay, communicative language teaching, communicative approach, okay, English for specific purpose, okay, task-based language teaching, and many of them, they are not aware of the concepts and theories related to these terms and how to implement these activities inside the classroom. Okay, all these methodologies were before pandemic. What I'm saying is, so now it's totally a different thing, and most of the teachers, as they are not trained in CLT, okay, they just blindly follow the methodologies which are primarily teacher dominated or grammar oriented and exam focused. And in India, uh, the major focus is always given to high percentage of marks in exams, and it adversely affects the method of English teaching. And communicative approach, this is one of the approaches advocated by English language teachers, okay, ELT, one of the ELT methods. And it goes beyond teaching grammar rules of the target language, and it proposed that by using the target language in a meaningful way, learners will develop communicative competence. A communicative approach is concerned with the unique individual needs of each learner. By making the language relevant to the world rather than the classroom, learners can acquire the desired skills rapidly and accurately. Actually, this method came as a reaction against the grammar-based approaches such as the audiolingual method and grammar translation methods of foreign language instruction that ignored that goal of language learning is communicative competence. So this is one of the approaches. And another one is English for specific purposes. Okay, so a basic insight that language can be thought of as a tool for communication rather than as a set of phonological, uh, grammatical, and lexical terms that should be memorized. That led to the notion of developing different learning programs to suit the needs of the different communities. So no longer was it necessary to teach an item simply because it is there in the language. Right? So a tourist to England should not have need not take the same course as an air traffic controller in Australia or some other country. So an Indian engineer preparing for graduate study, okay, uh, need not undergo the same syllabus or same thing as that of somebody in the United States. So this insight led to the emergence of English for specific purposes as a subcomponent language teaching with its own approaches to curriculum development, materials, pedagogy, and design. So English means, okay, air traffic controllers will have a separate English, and you have English for nurses, English for engineers, so English for maritime, so mariners. So that suits their profession. Okay, so that is English for a specific purpose, and this one is task-based language teaching. It refers to an approach based on the use of tasks as the core unit of planning and instruction in language teaching. It is presented as a logical development of communicative language teaching. So that is there. And it is also an offshoot of communicative approach, wherein activities focus on having students use authentic target language in order to complete meaningful tasks. That is, situations they might encounter in the real world and other project related assignments. So the projects might include visiting a doctor, making a phone call, conducting an interview in order to find answers, okay, visiting an industry, okay, and ask questions, okay, gathering information, okay, making posters or advertisements. So in task-based teaching, the focus is not on grammar because we have already introduced, we ought to have introduced all these things to the students. And so it helps the students to develop linguistic strategies for completing the assigned tasks within the constraints of what they know of the target language. And the emphasis given here is, of course, to the creative language use, whether spoken or written, rather than an absolute accuracy. And assessment is based on task outcome. See, another one approach, okay, that is used is CLEAN, subject, that is in simple, easily comprehensible ways using diagrams, illustrations, graphs, practice, and highlighting terms. And CLEAL here, okay, where language and subject teachers, they work together. Language teachers acquire subject knowledge, and subject teachers, they acquire expertise in combining language development with teaching the content effectively. Recent developments in CLEAL have focused more specifically on academic literacies as well as on the use of CLEAL approaches in the teaching of language schooling. And so this is one of the advantages of CLEAL. So these are some of the commonly used approaches. And now after what this one pandemic, the entire, that is a total shift, right? So from teaching learning to teaching sharing, from training to performance, okay, and classroom to anywhere and real world, and from paper to online and channel based. Right? So from physical facilities to network facilities, from classroom time to real time. So there is a total shift in teaching. So these are some of the points. And of course, after post pandemic, okay, digital competency has gained importance and delved in digital age, and the role of teachers, stakeholders, curriculum, and everything, okay, everything has totally totally changed. And these are the skills of 21st century. Okay, it can be summarized in 4 C's. Okay. Digital English language teaching can be based on these 4 C's in this 21st century. And this is communication, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration, right? So, so of course, when you read all these things, we can think, oh, these might be our classroom goals as an English teacher. And rest of the world has caught up with this modern English language classroom, but I don't know about India. Still, we have to go a long way. And when we are describing these skills, we aren't just talking about teaching English, but the skills that can be used to prepare learners for the 21st century. So this means we want our students to be able to perform independently and with groups in a highly technologically advanced atmosphere. And they should be ready for daily global interaction, and they should be capable of adaptive, flexible, and creative thinking. And they should understand how to plan for, build, and include collaboration with peers who are colleagues and experts in the field. So, okay, so these students should be here, of course, in 21st century curriculum, students should be given freedom to embrace lessons of curiosity. They should be able to motivate themselves, and they should be able to learn without guidance, especially after post-pandemic. And this may be wonderful for learners, but I don't know how far this will be helpful for teachers. And to get to the, 21st century skills and inspire motivation, we might ask whether we have to throw away a syllabus and our books and trust only in our learners to motivate themselves. That question is there. And of course, it is a long way to go, I believe. And see, this is to a student-centered language teachers. It's a matter of blending 4 C's more thoughtfully. We have to blend these 4 skills more thoughtfully in our classroom into a student-centered classroom where learners can engage in high-interest content that is relevant, useful, and promotes innovation. So even in a normal classroom, when you are teaching prepositions or any other grammar rules, we may spend some time explaining the rules and setting up the activity and delivering instructions. But by applying 4 C's, we can turn this lesson a bit more, of course, interesting, and making a typical ELL grammar, that is English language learning grammar lesson, into something magical. Yes, for example, sorry, yeah, collaborate means here, of course, start off by handing out magazines. We can give magazines or picture books, and they can collaborate with each other to choose a picture, and they can, of course, explain the picture. But actually, uh, I think in typical classrooms, we are destroying these skills. Okay, the 21st century, though uh, of course, gives importance to all these four skills: communication, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. What I personally feel is here in Indian classrooms, we are destroying these skills. Students actually they talk with each other, they discuss with each other, but what we say is, what we tell them is, don't talk, okay, don't discuss. Whatever that comes to your mind, you write it, okay, don't okay, just do what I say. So these are the things we are often, okay, we are used to instruct the students, okay, don't talk, okay, don't discuss, and whatever I say, you do it, okay. So all these things. So actually, what I feel is, all our instructions, okay, the traditional instructions that destroy all these skills: communication, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. And collaboration here means, okay, we can give magazines or picture books, okay, we can ask the students to discuss and they come out with their own interpretation of those things. And communication, critical thinking, and creativity, we can ask the students to work together to create ways to give directions. Of course, we can ask them to give directions to particular place. Right? So we can encourage the students to think outside the box and think about ways to give directions using computer or a mobile phone or a television or a YouTube video. So the goal is actually for the final product to be in English. We can allow the students to use L1 also. Okay, nowadays, we can allow the students to use L1 in the classroom, that is your mother tongue in the classroom. But the final product should be in English. And as a teacher, we have to play a passive role and we can stand back and watch what our learners are actually doing. Okay, so we can ask them to talk about what is their favorite food and which is their favorite place. So we can ask them to interact, and we can ask them to create a wiki voyage. Okay, digitally. So wiki voyage. Wiki voyage means, okay, they can choose a place, to any tourist place, and you can highlight the okay, important points, locations to visit in that particular place, shopping areas, and other monuments in that particular place. They can create their own they can write a blog or something and they can post it. Okay. That is wiki voyage. So all these things will help the students to improve their communication skills, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. After that, we can ask the students to compare their answers from other groups and what are the differences in reporting. And we can find out whether the information is consistent with the same thing. If you ask them to write about their favorite food, whether it is consistent with the same food, or is there any change? Okay, whether the students have compared their results with other teams, and then we can ask the student to write a short writing, and after that we can ask the students to speak and to explain how their results differ from other students. And creativity, using the information collected from the class and after analyzing data from other students, we can ask the groups to work together to create an advertising campaign that will make their products that the students like into something the other students will also make the other students to like them. For example, if the survey says most of the students did not like pizza for breakfast means the group would need to work together to create an advertising campaign to make pizza more attractive or their favorite choice for breakfast. To do this, students should consider what makes certain foods more popular in the class. Of course, these may require further follow-up interviewing to find out why students like one thing, not another. This information can then be used in the campaign. So this activity actually may, uh, it will there be some noise in the class, but everyone will be involved. So okay, it should be allowed in the class, right? So these are the four C's of 21st century skills, and of course these skills. And truly, the skills will spell out success for our learners in the future, and it shows how capable they'll be as independent and curious individuals. Our real challenge as educator is to model a desire to embrace the known, the unknown, and the just plain unknowable. And the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So, Financial Express, one of the magazines, observes the current trends indicate that digital formats will be an integral part of educational institutions in the post-COVID-19 world. So, with some meticulous planning and access to research tools, digital formats can help achieve these three vital aspects of education, that is reach, equity, and quality. So, first one is infrastructure. The infrastructure focus on the education is likely to shift from physical to digital assets, and which may ease some of the pressure on the already stretched physical infrastructure in India. But at the same time, in India, okay, many rural parts of India, they are not accessible to all these digital tools, and they are financially and socially marginalized sections. They don't have the accessible or approach to all these things. So especially underprivileged society, and so there the children, the students will be at a disadvantage. So to overcome this problem, okay, a few governments have started exploring the use of low-cost digital platforms for dissemination of learning content to the masses. So convergence will truly make sense in the education context, where every home connected with a television or a phone can be used for online and digital learning. So fulfillment is not complete without the right device in the hands of a learner. So on an urgent basis, there should be a move to ensure that all students, particularly for rural and marginalized sections, have the access to device. The next one is upskilling of teachers. While the focus is expectedly on students to ensure their learning is not disrupted by the pandemic, it is equally important to invest in teacher training and upskilling so that they can respond to the changing medium of teaching and learning. They should also be trained. Okay, post training refresher courses should be conducted, so that the teacher will also be adapting using all these tools. Content to ensure efficacy, pedagogy, and content will need to be revised to adapt to the digital models of learning. And many states they have started using television and radio. There needs to be structured plan to impart learning in a multimodal environment, and role of peer groups. So learning at schools and universities do not only take place within the confines of classroom, but almost equally outside of it from peers and friends. So many lifestyle and behavioral lessons are lost with the switch to digital learning, unless there is a concerted attempt to address these issues. It could, for example, be through digital streaming or mixed mode of combining the new truncated face-to-face meetings alongside digital lessons to achieve this objective. So face-to-face along with blended learning, flexible learning, and flipped classrooms. So a detailed plan with inputs from experts in the field of education as well as from the teachers, students, parents, and psychologists need to be developed to incorporate the holistic purpose of learning. And socialization, the risk of social alienation is real with the emergence of digital learning models. It's important to ensure adequate opportunities for social bonding and invest in the emotional well-being of students, which is largely comprised of siloed nature of digital lessons. Okay? So the popularity of tech-enabled learning solutions in the Indian education system is only going to accelerate further as educational institutions, teachers, parents, and governments become increasingly willing to adapt technology in this domain. We are likely to see heightened activity in innovation, new ventures, investments, and mergers and acquisitions in the education technology sector. Okay, already we have seen Byju's, okay, the number one online education. Uh, they have, I think, collaborated with the US company. So all these things will happen. And during this global pandemic, schools, universities across countries switched to digital or online models to allow students to continue their learning. So this has potential to disrupt the well-established models college education or university formats permanently. So while we embrace the new online model for education, it is crucial to be mindful of the gaps in the digital experience, especially for impressionable young minds that thrive on social learning. So the human element in the process of education will hopefully continue to play an integral role as we tentatively explore our changed world. So we have to be careful while using all these digital technologies because it should not create a wrong impression in the minds of the young minds. And this is an Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. And what it says is so education, what is learning in the digital age? That's what. Okay. So according to OECD Learning Framework of 2030, education plays a vital role in developing the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values that enable people to contribute and benefit from an inclusive and sustainable future. So it will be essential to learn how to form purposeful goals, work with others with different perspectives, find opportunities, and identify multiple solutions to big problems in the coming years. So education needs to equip students with the skills they need to become active, responsible, and engage citizens. And education technologies can transform how students can learn because they offer them new opportunities to explore complex phenomena and to create digital representations of their ideas they can tinker with and share with others. But not enough attention has been devoted to teaching the foundational skills and the attitudes that students need to develop in order to be active and autonomous users of technology for confronting open-ended real-world problems. So the PISA 2000 uh, 25 learning in the digital world assessment focuses on two competencies that are essential to learning with technology. PISA means Program for International Student Assessment. So it's self-regulated learning. They advocate self-regulated learning, which refers to the monitoring and control of one's metacognitive, cognitive, behavioral, motivational, and affective processes while learning, and computational and scientific inquiry practices which refer to the capacity to use digital tools to explore systems, represent ideas, and solve problems with computational logic. So he should become a digital citizens. Actually, we have to make the students digital citizens in the future. And this is common European framework for reference for languages. The Common European Framework of Reference for Languages advocates action-oriented approach, real-world approach, uh, intercultural competence. So here, as technology advances, it is increasingly important that young people are prepared to take part in a workforce in which computers play an ever-increasing role and to make decisions about how to use technology for acquiring new knowledge and skills. So while not everyone will become software engineers, jobs of the future will increasingly require people to interact with computational models and simulated realities and to solve problems using digital tools. So given the rapid rate of technological change, students today must develop a set of broad skills and perspectives that support lifelong learning in novel and unfamiliar digital environments. So actually, it advocates digital citizenship. And here, intercultural competence is emerging as a necessary skill in globalized societies of the 21st century. And the CEF identifies intercultural communication competency as an important indicator of proficiency and knowledge relating to second language usage. The framework encourages second language learners to become interculturally competent by recognizing and assessing first their own primary cultural base, then the target cultural base. So within this approach, the user learns about the linguistic code associated with the target language, as well as the diverse dimensions of the second language's cultural modes and values. Right? So in a classroom, we have people from different societies, different states, and in an international scenario, you have students from different continents and different countries also. And even in India, in many deemed universities, they admit students from other countries. So their culture should be respected. So a classroom should be pluriculturalism or multiculturalism. So each student should be taught how to give respect and value the other countries or states' culture. So that is the, a CEFR underscores that point. So all subjects, of course, these tasks allow learners to be language learners on the internet and experience. So and create synergy also among the faculty. And here, of course, the real world task means they can give projects, and they can ask to do projects to some. They can be asked to visit some place, and they can be asked to do a project in that particular area. They can be asked to visit a, if it is a coastal area, they can be asked to visit a fishing community nearby, and they can be asked to uh, find out their problems, okay, what are the help they need from the other, society. All these things they can record, and they can make a short film, and they can show it to the class. So that is real world task. And so all subjects, of course, they have their own kind of literacy. The languages of mathematics and history, for example, have specific linguistic and discourse features. And so language teaching and universities need to help learners to acquire these subject literacies. And development of study skills is an important part of making progress in language competencies, especially, okay, CEFR recommends that. So the CEFR, and over the time, approaches to second language instruction have evolved from strict focus on grammar and reading to an emphasis on the capacity to carry out specific social or interactive tasks in task language. Right? So these are some of the activities we can give. Okay, action-oriented approaches. We can ask them to greet someone, making introductions. Okay, asking and answering simple questions about familiar topics, completing simple registration forms, writing simple descriptions to inform someone about an event, asking for help, requesting, giving directions, offering and responding to an invitation, to an apology, reading advertisements, interpreting them, creating advertisements. Even nowadays, okay, creating memes also, that's possible, content writing, giving oral information, answering questions, and writing about oneself, understanding and following the procedures to join a club, team, or other group, understanding and asking questions about tasks they are to perform. So, understanding safety rules and instructions, making purchases. These are some of the activities that can be given to the students. So European Center for Modern Languages of the Council of Europe, and here plurilingual education, that inside the classrooms, the students should be taught to respect the other cultures, as students might be from various states or cultures. And it supports the personal growth of learners and enhances the social cohesion. And it promotes excellence in language education. So this is another council. And now these are the responsibilities of language teachers: use of online resources and integration of digital and language skills. So we have to select the text based on the context, and we should promote self-learning, and we have to make the students digital citizens for a digital society, and social interactive approach should be was recommended. And we have to adopt new technologies to incorporate digital literacy skills to language curriculum. Is outcome-based formative assessment. It promotes, this is the outcome. It develops learner autonomy. It develops collaborative learning, participatory learning, interaction, critical and creative thinking. And testing can be done, okay, based on their behavioral skills, soft skills, digital skills, creative and critical thinking. And we can give them short and long assignment. Okay, evaluation can be based on short and long assignment, and we can give them project work, and we can evaluate them. And performance based evaluation, like presentation, participation, group discussions, and production drama, skits, all these things can be conducted for assessment. So this is outcome-based assessment, sorry, not formative assessment, outcome-based assessment. And digital pedagogies and the transformation of language education in this 21st century, because we can encourage digital storytelling and augmented reality. And so, of course, we have been telling stories for thousands of years, and fascination with them hasn't changed in all this time. But the way we tell the stories, narrate the stories, it has changed a lot. And technology actually allows us to tell the best stories in the most exciting way. So this doesn't show signs of slowing down. The way we tell story is constantly evolving, right? So digital storytelling, okay, digital storytelling, okay, you can have colors, you can have music and everything. So the characters will be alive. So and augmented reality-based scenarios for language teaching and gamified e-reading experiences and impact. Okay, here gamified means okay, not through games. Gamified e-reading experience means interactive reading experiences. The reader should get immersed in the activity. So that is actually gamified e-reading experiences. It promotes higher comprehension levels and more positive reading attitudes. So actually, gamification is the cover to add the interactivity, engagement, and immersion that leads to good learning. So, and here, of course, next one is techno-discursive affordances in innovative e-learning ecologies. And here, techno-discursive ecologies which open up genuine possibilities for what we call new learning. It is transformative. You have to become a digital citizen, okay? And active knowledge making and feedback, okay, and collaborative intelligence. So all these things, it recommends all these things. And so we have to, I mean, scaling for meaning making and cultural inclusivity. So these are the digital pedagogies and the transformation of language education, and it is better to embrace all these things in our learning, I mean, English language classrooms. And modern trends. Okay, English language learning as intercultural experience. It promotes critical understanding of intercultural relationships and real life examples. We take examples from real life and we ask the students to do projects in the real life. We are asking the students actually to do real life projects. We are promoting that. So that should be carried out in the classrooms. So outcome, now teaching learning paradigm to teaching sharing and learning. So total change. Uh, we are supposed to make the students global digital citizens and the technology guided framework and outcome based assessment and upskilling of teachers and blended learning flipped and hybrid classes we have nowadays, right? So these are the outcome of digital English language teaching. And strategies and practices we have to change. And post-pandemic instructional activities, this is okay. Group interaction through virtual or physical mode. So group interaction should be encouraged. Collaborative, participative, and project-based learning. We need to build a network. Okay, and social media, we should not say, okay, you should not be in Facebook or Instagram or anything. Okay, if they are not in the Facebook or in any social media, he is considered as a jungle person. So he should have a digital footprint and language management system. Nowadays we have all these things. We use Cisco, we use Teams, we use Zoom, all these things. And remote support from the teacher. And mobile teaching should be encouraged. And learning through questions. Students should be asked to allowed to ask questions, and it should be interactive. Is okay. And yes, anything else from your side?
Thank you, ma'am.
Please. So in short, okay, we should make the students to become digital citizens, and all these methodologies it enhances the language skill of engineering students, and they can become more proficient. Uh, Only if the teachers also should be equipped with knowledge of all these modern teaching methods and theories. Okay? So if the curriculum is revised according to the expectations of the industry, the implementation of the program, of course, lies in the teachers, because we are the ones who work with the students directly. So it is expected that okay, these things will help the students, or it will help to address the gap, so that the professors will be trained to train the graduates for their successful careers.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can interact with our madam. Any questions, dear participant, you can post it in the chat as well, and I can read it.
So we become
Thank you,
facilitators,
ma'am.
we become guides. Okay, we are. It should not be a monocentric. The classrooms, we should allow the students to take part in all the activities. It should be an interactive classrooms nowadays. We should play a passive role. We become the guide.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your valuable time and informative session.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, ma'am. So that was Dr. Amuda Charushila, ma'am. She's an assistant professor from SVCE, Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. The topic was on pedagogy for languages in higher education. Thank you all for joining us.